Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the CoffeeCast ProCast Edition. This one is going to be game number 5 between our red Protest player, WhiteRa, spawning on the top right-hand side here on Daybreak. He is up in the 1 o'clock position, and his opponent, EmpireBeastyQT, the blue Terran, on the lower left-hand side, around that 7 o'clock position there. This is going to be day number 2 that I'm cashing this series, so I'm going to be quite honest, I don't really remember what happened on day number 1. Why? Well, my memory is not all that great, and I could probably remember if I was really trying to, but I'm not, and I just realized I did a little bit of gaming last night with some friends. Let's turn the graphics up just a little bit. I like to release cast on medium graphics. It makes it just look a little bit prettier. There we go. That looks about right. Also, I mean, my sound was like way jacked up and everything. I mean, everything was pretty funny sounding at the time. Game number 5, WhiteRa, I believe, is up 3-1 in this series so far here. And I'm kind of interested to see if BeastyQT can make a comeback. This was a best of 9 series. I just kind of randomly decided to go ahead and cast the full series. I wasn't originally planning on doing that, but I changed my mind because it was so much fun yesterday, and I wanted to keep going here. I don't have a ton of time today, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to cast the rest of the games or not. I have so much I need to do, not to mention I actually work this afternoon. So, we'll see if I can actually manage to get the rest of the series casted out. Just depending on how long the remaining games are here. Probably just going to be doing a little harassment at the front. SCV running out across the map, going to see everything standard schmandard. I know that I've been talking in the previous games how generally if you're going to do a Stargate opening, you're going to get both the gases before the cybernetics core. WhiteRa kind of showing that you don't really need to do that there. In fact, it just kind of goes with the very standard gateway gas, cyber gas, rather than going gateway gas, gas. So, I mean, WhiteRa just kind of showing that you can really do that Stargate build off of whatever you would like to do. That being said, who knows if he will do it this game. I believe he did do it in game number 1. This is technically game number 2 of the series. Once again, I've been totally just skipping around all of the maps just pretty much because I can here. Reactor is going to be going down on that barracks, and we have to remember that Reaper can come out of the reactor now. And I would actually, I don't know, it's so hard to guess what players are exactly going to be doing. This could be the, well, I'd guess double marine production, but I just don't see that happening because we are getting the gas. We are keeping 3 SCVs on the gas. I can only venture to guess this is going to be double Reaper production for a little bit of harassment here. And actually, you know what? While I've already paused the game once, I'm going to turn it down again here. It seems just a little bit loud. There we go. There we go. I felt like I was trying to talk over myself, which is always a problem. I tend to have. I get a little bit excited. I get a little bit too loud. And I loved it. I had one person call me, not every SCV being produced has to be exciting or something like that. They're just making fun of how excited I get. And it's like, the first thing I thought of was, SCVs are important, though. And I don't know if I ever ended up responding to that. Normally I try to respond to all the criticisms I get, good or bad, but I think I saw that when I was like on vacation last week, so I just kind of let it blow over there. Factory is being produced over next to that orbital command there, and it looks like a starport going to be going down right next to it. So we're going to be having a 1-1-1 of sorts here, not exactly the all-in 1-1-1. And it is actually going to be double marine production coming out of that reactor because we are using the gas that we were getting off of that one refinery there for the factory, for the starport. And what's this? This, my friends, is a mothership core coming over here to pretty much just harass the ever-living heck out of these buildings. However, there are plenty of marines on the map for EmpireBeastyQT. Oh man, that is a beautiful maneuver there by WhiteRa, and now running that mothership core out of the Terran's base. Going to be casting slow time on the mineral line there, and you can just see, I mean, that should be quite a bit higher considering that there is a mule in this bunch. That is definitely slowing down that harvester rate there. And coming back in, I don't know if he can really do all that much more with all these marines on the map. A Viking coming out of the starport, something that I would really like to see, but instead going to be going for that medevac, which, to be honest, I don't necessarily agree with considering that Stim is not on the field. Mothership core getting taken out. That's 100-100 lost there for WhiteRa. Just about making up for itself, though, considering the fact that this harvester line will slow down. I think it comes out fairly even there. We're seeing over in the spending tab. Should be fairly even, if not about 100% even there. WhiteRa's expansion is now finished. EmpireBeastyQT laying down his expansion down on low ground as well, getting a little bit supply blocked there. And I would like to say that is one thing that I do like about Heart of the Swarm is the fact that the score screen at the end, it shows how much time you were supply blocked, which is definitely a telling tale in really any game. I mean, being supply blocked once or twice for a couple seconds, not a big deal, but if you're supply blocked for like a minute or two, then it's a big deal. EmpireBeastyQT going to be lifting up a couple of Widow Mines, and 4 Marines going to be putting that in the main base there, but 3 Stalkers back to defend. Is he going to be able to get his payload off? And, running to the back there, 2 Widow Mines are dropped off, going to be laying down in that mineral line. Dangerous position. And it looks like 1 probe was taken out by that Widow Mine, was detected somehow. I'm not quite sure how. Down in the natural expansion, a nice little handful of Marines coming down, and that medevac going to be coming over as well to be able to do a little bit of damage. 1 Widow Mine going to be laying down next to that Nexus, and I think WhiteRa has enough to defend here. There is only one Nexus, one medevac healing that up, and the Mothership Core is here to help defend against that. There's the Photon Overcharge on the Nexus, and that was going to be cleaned up. Observer right there. That must have been what detected that Widow Mine. I didn't really see that in the army composition there. Stalkers are going to be trying to hunt this medevac down. They're going to miss it, and the medevac's going to be able to come back up into that natural expansion there. Photon Overcharge still laying waste. That 1 Marine going to get taken out. This 1 medevac actually taking a couple of shots there. That Photon Overcharge, while only doing 20 damage, is definitely a little bit of help, and sometimes just that little edge that you need to help defend against this early kind of drop play here. Now, we do have Colossus coming out onto the field that's going to complement this Gateway army nicely, considering that right now, all WhiteRa has seen has been this Barracks army out of BeastyQT. It does look like, well, the playbook's still pretty much open for BeastyQT. I mean, he does have the 3 racks on the field. He does have the double tech lab on those racks as well to get those upgrades going, but at this point, he could definitely still transition into either mech or starport play. Or, I mean, probably more common, it would be a mech starport combination there. But I think that it's more and more looking like we're going to be staying on this bio play here. That being said, 3rd base going up with the income from that 3rd base. Once again, playbook wide open for him. Combat shields and weapons level 1 being researched at this point in time. So definitely going to be staying with that bio play at this point in time. Colossus is on the field. That's going to help out quite a bit with that. Won't need Ghosts for quite some time, or at least until WhiteRa gets on 3 base and starts adding in the Templar and the Archons there. 2 Stalkers out a little bit across the map, but without Stim, BeastyQT not going to be able to chase us down. WhiteRa just going to be doing a little poking and prodding, getting some watchtower control. Probably going to be losing his current watchtower control. Need to be careful with these 2 Widow Mines. Not allowing to let those get burrowed is pretty much going to be the biggest deal in the world here. 2 additional gateways go down. We have to remember we're only on 3 gate right now, which is a little bit late on those 2 additional gateways. We can see WhiteRa's bank is getting a little bit stacked up there, especially over on the gas side of things. Going to be dropping down that Widow Mine at the 3rd base. Going to be pretty much just being a pesca there, denying that 3rd base pretty much as long as possible. Which actually, that's kind of a nice strategy. It's almost like burrowing a Zergling there, except a little bit better because it just kills the probe that's going to be over there. Loading up 1 medevac going to be, looks like flying around to the drop side of the natural expansion there. In the meantime, flying 2 medevacs up towards the main base as well. Where are WhiteRa's forces positioned? Well, currently in a good spot. It's just going to be kind of how they end up splitting where this comes down to here. He just needs a couple of units back over here. Maybe even a Photon Overcharge on the natural expansion Nexus. And pulling his army back to defend against this double drop here. It's going to be kind of a risky position here. It looks like, the drop on the natural expansion side has been scouted by a probe down there who is not dead due to this Widow Mine, I would like to point out here. And these medevacs just kind of sitting around in position. It looks like WhiteRa does not, well, he should actually know about these 2 medevacs over here. Yes, he does see those. So, there we go. There's the rest of the army over here split up. And really, I almost wonder if this is too many units down. Actually, this is more units to defend against 1 medevac than it is to defend against the 2 medevacs up in the main base there. Photon Overcharge actually going down in the main base there. This is going to be cleaned up without a problem. 1 medevac actually almost getting taken out there, which would have been a great victory for WhiteRa, who's now going to be running down and trying to pick off this medevac maybe. Actually might be trying to take this natural expansion. And Widow Mine going to get 1 Stalker taken out there, going to take the shields off of a few Zealots as well. Not too much damage done there, just pretty much 1 Stalker loss. Not too big of a deal, but in the meantime, with that little bit, I would almost call it a failed drop there, BeastyQT did buy himself enough time to go ahead and drop a 3rd base. Now we see WhiteRa wanting to take this 3rd base, going to finally be able to take out that Widow Mine there. And we can already see that he's getting ready to go up on that 3 base strategy there. One medevac going to be trying to come into the natural expansion, getting chased off by that photon cannon. Now going to be kind of cornered up in the dead space here on the top right hand side of the map. Like I was saying, WhiteRa going into that 3 base strategy, he's getting his Templar Archive, he's getting his charge lots, he's getting +2 for both his weapons and his armor, setting himself up nicely to kind of transition into this late game strategy. Terran's side of things going to be getting ship weapons level 1. And one thing I would like to point out, I was talking to my friends about this last night and I got it kind of mixed up, so I'm almost reinforcing this more than letting you guys know, because you guys probably already know. When it comes to upgrades for Mech and Sky for Terran, the Mech and Sky have separate weapons upgrade, but they share the same armor upgrade, which I think was a very good way to go ahead and execute that. Going to be getting ship weapons level 1 here, which is the reason why I'm pointing that out. Have the Vikings help out with those Colossus, but for BeastyQT, I don't know if he realizes WhiteRa is transitioning into that 3 base. He is transitioning over into the Templar tech. Needs to get his ghosts on the field relatively quickly there. Oh! That medevac is feedback and just destroyed. That drop is taken out, which is going to make dealing with this straight up bio army much easier. But the question is, will he be able to deal with it before this 3rd base is stacked? The answer is WhiteRa is not even going to try. Without Storm on the field, it would have been too risky of a maneuver. These Vikings in a decent position here are going to be able to pick off at least 1 or 2 Colossus, or at least get a couple of volleys off. 1 Colossus does go down at the sacrifice of just a few hit points on those Vikings. Very well executed by BeastyQT, destroying the 3rd, getting a free Colossus, and now falling back as he does know that those Templar are on the field now, is going to be getting the 3 ghosts out on the field, maybe even a couple of more to help deal with those. Weapons level 2 and armor level 2 for the Bioforce going to be finishing up just a little bit after 2-2 for our Protoss player. Mobus Reactor not quite done yet, so this goes going to need to wait a little bit of time before EmpireBeastyQT can move out across the map. And I would just like to say, I just noticed how epic this Heart of the Swarm music is. Just listen to that. That is actually pretty awesome. Like, I feel like something insane should have been happening right there, rather than just like WhiteRa pushing out, trying to establish a 3rd and a 4th at the same time. Actually, kind of a risky maneuver, but I like it considering his 3rd base did get sniped. And really, when you take the 3rd and 4th on Daybreak, I feel like both these bases are actually fairly easy to defend as one. You just kind of station your army in the middle of the map. Over here, kind of on the watchtower, you can move down a little bit to defend this little area. Mothership Core will help defend this 3rd base from drops, as well as maybe a Templar and a cannon or 2 could always help. Marines are in position just around here, around there, to be able to scout where WhiteRa's armies are going. I like the fact that WhiteRa is beginning to push out with pylons. I would like to actually have a pylon or 2 on the north side as well as on that south side. BeastyQT, though, going to have none of it. He's on 200. He is maxed out. He is ready to push out, folks. 3 ghosts in that army, maybe a 4th. 6, actually. 6 ghosts. That was a little bit of an understatement on my part. Ready to throw down some EMPs. Will the EMPs be able to land on the Templar before the Templar Storm goes off is the big question we have for the day, though. A nice little spread by WhiteRa here. Needs to spread out his Templar just a little bit. Oh, Stalker kind of in the front of the army there. 1 High Templar does get sniped out. Ghost leading the army. Will they be able to snipe the next one? 1 High Templar does get EMP'd and sniped. And it looks like this is going to be the engagement moment for WhiteRa, actually putting his units on hold position. These Colossus just getting wrecked by the Vikings. A great engagement so far for BeastyQT, but 1 nice storm does soften up those Vikings just a little bit. Stimbile going to be running up, picking off 1 High Templar. Will he be able to get a 2nd High Templar? No, they will not be able to. In the meantime, BeastyQT just kind of trying to pick off what he can here and there. These 2 High Templar are very exposed out. These 2 actually need to morph into Archon because they just do not have any energy there for a storm. Ooh, Stimbile running up, going to be able to pick off 1 more High Templar there. 2 storms, maybe 3 or 4 left on the field with those 2 High Templar there. How much energy they have there? It's enough for 2 storms here with that 75 energy per storm. 2 storms on a 2nd one, and almost 1 storm, so almost up to 5 storms. This army rather clumped up. Unfortunately for BeastyQT, I think he used almost all of his energy. There we go, a couple more ghosts coming up to reinforce, and mass repair going down on these Vikings as well with quite a few SCVs there. Widowmine coming up to join the engagement. BeastyQT might try baiting WhiteRa back. But so far, he's done a very good job in this engagement, just whittling down the forces of WhiteRa, whittling down the spellcasters, and oh, there goes another Templar, a 2nd Templar as well. 2 more storms are now gone. Actually, those might have been new Templars, so pretty much 1 Archon. The equivalent of 1 Archon. Oh, man, a nice excuse me, a nice feedback going down on what I believe was a medevac there, but the stim bio looking extremely scary. There are a ton of Marauders. In fact, exactly 24 Marauders and 24 Marines in these groups over here, and a few ghosts as well. Widowmine's now pushing forward, going to try to secure a little bit of room for BeastyQT to push up there. A great maneuver by BeastyQT that's going to stop WhiteRa from really being able to engage on that ramp. Oh, one Zealot just run up, might be able to take out a Widowmine, and no, not quite able to take out that Widowmine. There's a lot of DPS that is able to survive there, and now WhiteRa just going to be going for it there. One Widowmine does go down. I think the next one died as well before. Or, no, I think they did get that payload off, as there are quite a few Zealots there on very, very low health. Nice Storm goes down, forcing BeastyQT to fall back just a little bit. Vikings getting caught a little bit out of position, now landing down, and this might be the moment. BeastyQT storming forward with that stim, but oh, there's no Storm left on the field. WhiteRa without his AoE, just having to rely on charge ups to soak up a lot of the damage there. There's one Storm, two Storms going down on top of each other, unfortunately there. And I think BeastyQT definitely coming out on top of this engagement. But here comes the re-macro for WhiteRa, putting himself back on even footing with BeastyQT. And Nuke actually going down. Very interesting decision. My goodness, I'm getting lightheaded. I need to take a breath there. And it looks like, oh, WhiteRa is just kind of dangerously sitting on top of this. Needs to move his probes back. Needs to move his army back. There's nothing over here to detect this ghost right now. And there we go. The pull off coming at the last second. A couple of workers go down, but really not all that much damage sustained. It does buy BeastyQT maybe a little bit of room to maneuver, but no, not going to take the chance. He knows that WhiteRa's array macro is going to be a little bit too strong. The Colossus have been gone just a little bit too long, and he will be coming back onto the field shortly. There's one Colossus coming back onto the map. No Vikings on the field, currently going to be making 3 of those to try to counter the Colossus. But for the moment, BeastyQT must fall back. Now, I do know one medevac was loaded up that is going to be coming down around to the south side of the map that might be spotted by that one Zealot if WhiteRa is paying attention, but is going to be coming up towards the third base here. Scan going down somewhere, not exactly sure where, but there goes dropping off into that third base. Is going to force WhiteRa to do a little bit of a warp in there. 4 Zealots going to be more than enough to be able to take care of that. I don't know how that died. I think there was a High Templar over here, but in the meantime, a big Doom Drop coming into the main base. That third base going to be cleaned up quite easily by the Zealots, but the main base in quite a bit of trouble because the Warpin was used at the third base. That means that the Warpin cannot come over here to help defend. A nice feedback going down on one of the medevacs, then warping into an Archon there. That's going to open up the fourth base for attack because quite a few units having to fall back to defend against us. Now we see a small group of Ghosts actually coming in. Might be sniping the High Templar there. Could just pick up the mineral line there, as actually Ghosts are very, very good versus mineral lines. They get that extra damage versus light. And ooh, here comes the army for WhiteRa. What's left of it needs to really make sure to attack with his entire army combined. This fourth base going to have to be sacked. One more nuke going down into that fourth base mineral line. But this army with the stim bio just too strong unless WhiteRa is at full power. The base does go down, and it looks like the Ghost was killed before that nuke could go off. Nukes, an interesting decision. I won't necessarily say bad, but definitely an interesting decision. BeastyQT just hitting all over the place, doing a great job of sniping bases, sniping workers, and just kind of forcing WhiteRa to be everywhere at once. Needs to definitely be keeping that a little harassment up, doing a great job of whittling WhiteRa down right now. And I believe he is on 3-3 at this point. Yes, 3-3 for BeastyQT. We do have 3-3 for WhiteRa as well. I'm starting to get those shields upgrades. The shield upgrades are always kind of my indication of when you're beginning to go into the end game for any game, but that's ooh, whoa, actually was able to kill off a pylon there with a single cloaked Ghost. That Ghost is being so pesky. There we go, out of energy. One thing we're actually seeing out of Protoss players that I would like to elaborate on is the fact that some players are beginning to go for the shield upgrades before the armor upgrades, due to the fact that the air play out of Protoss players, the air units do benefit from that armor upgrade as well, so you kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone there. Looks like a few Zealots going to be taking on some Marines, going to be looking for a little bit of harassment. Moving to the north side, going to force finally BeastyQT to fall back and defend one of his own bases for once. Marauder's going to be moving along the south side, trying to do a little bit of damage there. Zealots not probably going to be able to do too much work as a planetary fortress is being morphed in, and a nice warping of Zealots down south. Ooh, no! Oh gosh, that next actually is going to fall. WhiteRa does have spare minerals, but not that many. Probably should have put the cancel down on that Nexus. Was obviously not paying all that much attention. Fourth base now re-established for WhiteRa there. Oh man, I gotta take a stretch. Oh man, that was a good stretch. Now there is a sensor tower up on the north side of the map that's going to alert BeastyQT of when something might be coming into play. I actually don't see where that tower is. There it is at the back of the mineral line there. So just going to give BeastyQT a little bit more of a heads up A lot of Marauders in these medevacs, folks, going to be moving over towards that main base of WhiteRa. Once again, this could actually do a lot of damage if he attacks from multiple angles, and here comes the rest of the army going down towards the south side. This is going to completely split WhiteRa's army in half, and I think this might actually break WhiteRa's back, who does have a maxed out army right now, but he just, I mean, the Protest army really needs to attack with multiple, with his entire force, I'm trying to say here. One more nuke does go down over this third base, going to, force WhiteRa to not be able to retreat to defend his main base here. Here come 2 medevacs into the main base. In the meantime, BeastyQT is just going to be assaulting the south side, trying to keep WhiteRa's army down there. There goes the nuke. Now WhiteRa can begin falling back, but is it going to be a little bit too late here? 2 medevacs coming in the main base here, and 2 medevacs, it looks like going to be dropping down towards that natural expansion there. WhiteRa's army just going to go for the counterattack here. I don't think he realizes that there's only half of the army in the middle of the map quite yet. There we go. Going to be engaging his army. Does he have enough? One storm does force BeastyQT to fall back a little bit. In the meantime, main base beginning to get gutted here, but I just don't know. There's so many ghosts on the map right now, and those ghosts just going to be able to rip apart these zealot lines here. StimBio keeping well out of range of the Colossus and the Archons here. Main base, those zealots are not going to be, actually are, because these medevacs are now out of energy, so the zealots are going to be able to mop that up. Natural expansion, though, getting gutted as well. There's nothing down there to help defend against that. BeastyQT's units very, very low on health. Medevacs beginning to run out of energy back in his natural expansion here. But WhiteRa going to choose to fall back, as he does still have his 3 mining expansions, even if a couple of his bases are a little bit endangered here. WhiteRa not in the worst position in the world, but definitely beginning to fall behind bit by bit, just desperately trying to keep these Colossus alive with 1 Archon firing away at these Vikings. Here comes a reinforcing round, a Stalker here to help clean up these Vikings here. This might be his moment to push out, but I'm not quite sure if he quite has the forces to do it. BeastyQT does have, that's not the tab I was looking for, does have a little bit of an advantage. That's also not the tab. There we go, it is an 85 to 62 army supply, and BeastyQT also does have the Harvester supply advantage, so BeastyQT just kind of sitting in a slightly better position. In the meantime, more medevacs coming down into the main base of WhiteRa, going to be able to take out the production here. That is going to be, I think, the killing blow for WhiteRa here, who's beginning to just kind of lose on every front. He does have the resources to re-macro, but soon he's not going to have the production facilities to be able to re-macro. A lot of the add-ons on the barracks going down, though. In the meantime, third base being assaulted. That's going to get cleaned up by a reinforcing round. But all the gateways falling, and WhiteRa not re-macroing any of those gateways, which is what he really needs to do in a safer location here. A lot of barracks falling as well, though, but BeastyQT once again just has the superior army. But can he win in a straight-up engagement, as there are still 2 Colossus and a High Templar on the field? 6 Vikings should be able to mop up those Colossus, and there are a lot of Marauders left on the field as well. This natural expansion is going to get taken out, but I don't know if this is really where WhiteRa needs to be hitting, as there really isn't any mining going on here, and there really aren't that many production facilities either. Here comes a Ghost running up, going to be laying down a couple of EMPs. Colossus going to be falling. Oh, 1 more Colossus is going to live. GG, well played from WhiteRa, and BeastyQT is going to take another game off of WhiteRa in a 30-minute macro game. This was almost Wings of Liberty style, because besides a Mothership Core in the early game and the Widow Mines in the mid game, this was just a straight-up Colossus Archon ball versus a classic Bio ball with some Viking support. BeastyQT able to get the better of WhiteRa in that engagement. Once again, I really think it just came down to the fact that WhiteRa lost almost all of his production facilities. So while he was still on 3 well-mining bases, just did not have any way to re-macro his army. BeastyQT, he did lose a couple of his production facilities, but he didn't lose any of his mining bases, and for the most part, he does have quite a few barracks still left on the field. Alright, I don't think I have any more time to cast games today, because I do still have a lot of work to do. I need to go work at the new house for a little bit, get that done up a little bit. We're doing a renovation now, finally done with the demolition. Should be fun. Leave a comment if you have a couple of seconds. If not, I just hope that you guys keep an eye out for the following games in the series. And remember, WhiteRa still up 4-2 in this best of 9. Needs to hit 5 games to be able to win the series. Stay tuned and find out what happens, folks. Until next time, this is Coffee Break, signing out.